film work or video work when I walked in the door.
Can you give me an example of a typical day? Like, for example, maybe when you do the football games or the city council meetings, or one of the many things that you do.
Let's just take today. Now,
Okay.
school proper has not started yet.
Okay.
So if you can imagine this, about 1:30 to 4 o'clock time I might be teaching.
Mm-hmm.
But just today I came in about 7 o'clock and I had an order of football tapes. Football is really popular.
Mm-hmm.
We'll start taping that in the near future. And
When you say order the tapes, what do you mean?
people want a copy on VHS
Okay.
of the games.
Okay.
And I had to do 5 hours worth of copying. So rather than having 5 hours to spend, then I had to set up 2 separate bays, as we call them, to copy
Mm-hmm.
onto VHS and have 2 games running simultaneously, which can really confuse you if you're trying to watch it.
Definitely.
So I got this going, and then as I set up each tape, time is so compressed that I have to say, okay, this tape's going to last for 45 minutes. In that 45 minutes, I've got to go out and do something.
Wow. So you can make your time productive.
But it means I have to go out on multiple errands. So I have to go out to the post office and get a tape that's being sent of a program we'll play back later in the week.
Mm-hmm. And this is all part of your job. You can't send someone out to do this kind of thing?
No.
Oh.
And then I had to go over to City Hall. We actually have our head-in, as we call it, where we play back the tapes at City Hall. So I had to actually time out the tapes, write a very simple computer program to tell the computer at City Hall when and how to play back the tapes, and actually do that. Come back.
And what time was it about then?
This is by about 9:30 or so. But I've been running errands each time I'm changing tapes.
And timing them out so you could get back.
That's right. I have to end conversation. I'm sorry, I've got an edit going. Gotta leave.
Yeah.
And I will do that. You know, can we talk later? You know.
Yes. After all that, you don't want to miss it.
And it makes it tough to have a casual conversation. Someone wants to talk to you about, you know, something. Oh yeah, we're thinking about doing this and that at the school.
Excuse me.
Hold that thought. Can I call you from my office and we'll talk on the phone?
And if not, too bad.
And so it makes it tough.
Yeah. So we're at 9:30.
By 9:30, I've pretty much programmed the station. I had a producer come in. She has to do a show tomorrow, so she has to prepare her paperwork and her teleprompter so she can read off the teleprompter what she's supposed to say. She has to enter that into her computer. She has to send some faxes out, make final arrangements and phone calls for the shoot tomorrow.
So she comes in. Do you have to oversee what she does?
Yes.
Oh.
Most people are not comfortable with all the machinery. They know what they want to do.
I know that.
I'm sure that doesn't happen to you.
Oh, constantly.
And there's people are comfortable to differing degrees. And so I always presume that people need help with the equipment.
Yes.
And we take up the slack. That's part of our job here. And when I say our, I mean also myself and David Smith, who's chief engineer and producer here.
And who's
and
running
then
all
Robert
of our
Jacks.
stuff right now, too.
Yes. And what else did I do this morning? I basically tried to make several phone calls to set up future shoots.
Yes. And I spoke with you on the phone, too, in the midst of all
That's
that
right.
chaos.
Yeah, multiple phone calls just for what's going on that day. Securing permission for a football game where apparently Fox Sports West is coming in. And so I have to make sure that we're going to have the better spots within the stadium,
Sure.
the better broadcast area than a much larger network.
Which is probably difficult to finagle, I would think.
When I'm dealing with people, I'm always thinking of the next time I deal with them. It's not good for me to go in and just get what you want. You may go in and get the shoot without permission, without preparation, but next time you go into that stadium or that place, you won't have that goodwill
That's true.
that you would have had if you do all the permissions weeks ahead of time, all the extra letter writing and phone calling and asking, so that when you do call up all of a sudden, then that is there.
That's good. So it's laying groundwork and foundation for future relationships.
Yeah.
So
And
then that brought you up to, well, did you eat anything during this time? Any
No.
time for breakfast? Okay, so you're starving.
and then I also have to pace myself because once we're done here, I have to go back and follow up on phone calls that didn't happen for football. And then I have to get ready and tape the school board meeting tonight, which starts at 7 and can go it can go till 11 o'clock. It's possible, but chances are it'll be done by 9, then I have to edit that show.
Tonight?
And get that ready to air in the morning. Because tomorrow I have another shoot to get ready for, and I have to have all the programming and editing ready before that walks in the door.
So there's not only a lot of work to do, but there's a definite time schedule that has to be fit into so that you can get all of this done, which requires late hours many times, and early hours, like this morning, 7 o'clock.
I have to be ready to come in and grab something and put it on the air. Or if we're doing a shoot, for example, starting next week we'll have classes and then we have shoots going out as the class is ending. I won't have time to pack for that shoot. It has to be pre-packed
Packed
before the
meaning
class
getting
starts.
all the equipment together, and which I'm sure takes a lot of time as well.
And takes energy because it's heavy. You have to move stuff around.
I think you told me one time that to prepare for a football game with packing the equipment and everything is about 15 hours.
It can take that long, to set
That's
up and everything.
amazing.
And then after the shoot, the editing and copying can take much longer too, because if a game is 3 hours to edit or copy, I have to edit one version that goes on the air here. Another version, like for example, next week it's due to go on the air in Cyprus, another 3 hours. Another 3 hours for a version that can go on in Seal Beach. Another 3 hours to copy off 2 tapes for the opposing coaches, and then whatever sponsors may want it. So I may copy off that game or edit it 5 different times, another 15 hours of work.
That's unbelievable. You could be a football coach by the end of that whole process, just watching it so many times. And that's just doing the football thing.
That's one shoot.
That's
It'll
one
be 2.5
thing.
hours on the air if you're watching the game 2.5 hours. But for us, that can be up to 6 days worth of work.
That's amazing.
By the time we finish copying off one game, we're loading out for the next.
There's so much that we just don't realize that goes on behind the scenes. And then you cover city council meetings, and those take place, is it once a month?
Twice a month,
Twice a
normally.
month, and you do those live, right?
Correct.
Which means you have to either send a crew out or you have to go yourself, set up over there, and it takes whatever amount of time that the meeting takes.
Right.
Which is evening, so if you worked all day long, you go and cover that. That's another long day.
We have no idea how long they'll last, and they have to be edited.
Yes.
And you may have a school board meeting starting at the exact same time.
And you have to cover that too. So you have to send another crew to that spot. Then at the end of that evening, what happens? Do you come back and do the editing that night?
Or I'll do
Or
it
maybe
first
the
thing in the
next
morning
morning?
and prepare that. We want to try to get shows on the air as quickly as possible after they're taped.
So they don't
Especially-
stack up, too.
And especially something as timely as a meeting. We had one recent Monday where we had RCSD meeting tapes come in from Time Warner. We taped school board and city council the previous night, so we had 3 public meetings
All pertinent to the
That all-
community.
that all came in on the same day.
And then all of the other shows that you put on the air, too.
Yeah, we have,
And there are shows that come in from other communities, too, right?
Right,
That
well,
you
we-
have to put into the program.
we call them import shows. And it may be someone here has made something using other facilities, or it can be a neighboring station. Or, for example, we bring in Army Navy news, pardon me, Navy Marine Corps news, beg your pardon. Semper Fi, guys, sorry. And that would be of interest to people around here, whether they're veterans or currently in the military.
Well, this is just such an incredible example of what you do. I think we could probably talk for 3 more hours just hearing about what it is that you do. But I find that this gentleman handles it all really well. Every time I've ever come in here for anything, he's got it all under control. I'm so grateful for this opportunity, Dan, and I thank you. And I thank you all for joining us. This was a fun time with Dan, and it was a fun time for me being here as well, and I hope you enjoyed it too. I'd like to leave you with a little tiny song that I've written to maybe bless you and send you on your way. Grace be to you, grace be to you, and peace from God the Father. Grace be to you, grace be to you, and peace from the Lord Jesus Christ. Thanks for tuning in. God bless. Bye-bye.